Let's be real for a second. Have you ever found yourself, maybe late at night, scrolling on your phone and adding something to an online cart that you absolutely know you don't need, and yet you buy it anyway? If that sounds familiar, you're definitely not alone. And the reason why has way less to do with your self-control and a lot more to do with a battle that's happening inside your brain. A battle you probably didn't even know was being waged. Okay, let's get into it.
So picture this. It's 11 p.m. You're scrolling, and then you see it. A brand new matte black garlic press. The ad says there are only 4 left in stock. A little countdown timer is ticking away at the top of the screen. Now look, your current garlic press, it works just fine. But this one, this one feels different, right? It feels like an upgrade to your entire life. So you click buy. That feeling right there is exactly what we're going to unpack.
So what is actually going on in our heads at that moment? Well, the first thing you have to understand is that this isn't some kind of personal failing. It's not a bug, it's a feature of how our brains are wired. And it all kicks off with one single, very misunderstood chemical.
For years, we've all heard that dopamine is the pleasure chemical, but that's not quite right. In fact, it's mostly wrong. Dopamine is the wanting chemical. It's the neurochemical of anticipation. It's the thrill of the chase. It's the little voice in your head saying, "Ooh, go get that," promising a reward that, spoiler alert, may or may not actually deliver.
And this points to a really fascinating split in our brains. We have 2 totally separate systems for this stuff. The wanting system, that's dopamine's territory. That's what makes you add the garlic press to your cart. But the liking system, the part that's responsible for actual genuine satisfaction, that's a different circuit entirely. And this is why the promise of the purchase so often feels way more powerful than the reality of actually owning the thing.
And this experiment just illustrates the point perfectly. A monkey's dopamine levels went completely through the roof when it saw a light that signaled food was coming. But when it actually got the food and ate it, the dopamine spike was already gone. The high is in the wanting, not the having. This is exactly why mindlessly browsing and adding things to your Amazon cart can feel so good, but when the box finally shows up, you're just like, meh.
Okay, but there is a counterforce here. Your brain has a defense mechanism. Brain scans show that when we see a price tag, the part of our brain that registers physical pain actually lights up. Yep, spending money literally hurts. And this is so important because pretty much every payment innovation, from credit cards to Apple Pay to one-click buying, is specifically designed to numb that pain and make it way easier for your wanting brain to win the argument.
So you've got this internal battle going on, the dopamine-fueled anticipation versus the pain of paying. But here's the thing, it's not a fair fight, not even close. The entire retail world, especially online, has been built from the ground up to tip the scales in favor of your wanting brain. Let me show you how the system is rigged.
It starts with these simple little psychological tricks, like pricing. I mean, we all consciously know that $9.99 is basically $10, right? But our brain doesn't see it that way. It latches onto that first number, the 9, and processes the price as being in the $9 range. And this tiny change isn't trivial. We're talking about a sales boost of up to 35% just from playing this little game with our brains.
And then you've got the almost supernatural power of the word free. Check out this classic experiment. When a fancy truffle was 15 cents and a Hershey's Kiss was a penny, most people chose the truffle. Made sense. But when the price dropped by just 1 cent, making the Kiss free, demand completely flipped on its head. The word free just short-circuits our rational brain. It makes us grab for something we probably didn't even want 2 seconds earlier.
And online, oh man, these tactics are on steroids. Countdown timers, only 3 left in stock. 12 people are looking at this right now. They are all built to trigger our deep-seated fear of missing out, what psychologists call loss aversion. The pain of losing an opportunity feels about twice as strong as the pleasure of gaining something. So that last chance banner, it's not selling you a product, it's selling you relief from the anxiety of being left out.
And this entire system has hit its absolute peak on social media. I'm talking about things like TikTok Shop, which have turned mindless scrolling into a totally seamless buying pipeline. You don't even search for products anymore. They find you. And as you can see here, while it's crazy effective at getting us to buy, more than half of us end up regretting those impulse clicks.
Okay, so these psychological tricks are one thing, but what is the actual long-term financial damage of all these small, supposedly harmless purchases? This is where the numbers get genuinely scary.
Let's start with a simple number, $20. That could be a food delivery order, a random Amazon buy, a couple of fancy coffees. It seems so small, right? Like a daily rounding error in the grand scheme of things. But it's not.
Because that $20 a day, if you had invested it instead of spent it, could grow to nearly $1.9 million by the time you retire. So let's reframe this. You're not just buying some $20 thing, you are actively selling a massive piece of your future financial freedom for a quick, cheap dopamine hit today. Let's make it even more real. A simple $5 daily coffee habit doesn't just cost you $5. Over 30 years, that habit could be worth $250,000 in lost retirement savings. Suddenly, that latte tastes a little different, doesn't it?
And when you start adding it all up, the numbers are just staggering. A couple of subscriptions you forgot about, those impulse buys, the markups on food delivery. It is shockingly easy to have almost $600 a month just leaking out of your account without you even noticing. And that $600 a month, invested over 40 years, that becomes $1.5 million. These aren't small purchases, they are million-dollar decisions in disguise.
Okay, that was a lot of doom and gloom. It feels like the system is just unbeatable. But it's not. Once you see how the game is played, you can start writing your own rules. So, here's how you fight back.
We've got 4 concrete steps you can take to get back in the driver's seat. Let's start with the single most powerful tool you have, the 24-hour rule. It's so simple. You see something you want? Fine, add it to your cart. And then close the app, walk away. Set a reminder for 24 hours later. By then, that initial dopamine rush will be long gone, and you can make a clear-headed, rational decision. I promise you, 9 times out of 10, you won't even want it anymore.
Next, you have to reframe the cost. Stop thinking in dollars and start thinking in life energy. How many hours of your actual life did you have to trade to earn the money for that item? When you see a $75 shirt, not as $75, but as 3 hours of your finite time on this earth, the question, is it worth it, becomes much, much clearer.
You also have to redesign your environment. Seriously, delete the shopping apps from your phone. Unsave your credit card information from your browser. Every single extra step you add between the impulse and the purchase, every little bit of friction is a precious opportunity for your rational brain to step in and say, hold on, do we really need this?
And this part is so important. The goal here is not to stop spending money. It's not about deprivation. It's about making sure your spending is aligned with what you actually value. A great way to do this is to set up a totally separate account with a fixed amount, say $100 a month, for guilt-free spending. You can buy any silly, random thing you want with it, no questions asked. But when it's gone, it's gone. This forces you to decide what you truly want.
And that brings us right back to where we started. That late-night purchase of the garlic press, it was never really about the garlic press. It was about the promise. It was about the little fantasy of a more organized, more efficient, more beautiful life that the ad sold you in that one vulnerable moment. The system sold you the feeling of wanting, not the actual item.
So if there's one thing to take away from all this, it's this idea. Your money is your life energy. It's a physical representation of your time. And the question you have to ask yourself every single time you're about to click buy is incredibly simple. Is this thing right here worth that trade? Once you start asking that question, everything changes.